Yesterday, the bourse was down 0.63%. On the list of gainers, we're looking at Total and Mobil, losers, Nigerian breweries and AP. What is the scene like on the bourse today?
The downward trend continued today, likely on the stock exchange. Though the official index value is not yet out as I speak to you right now, but from the look of things in the market, it was obviously a downbeat, note in today's trading. Basically, the heavyweights declined. The First Bank, Nigerian breweries, which are the big capitalized stocks on the exchange, declined significantly today. Mainly the pressure was from the banks, really, and because the banks account for over half of market capitalization, that obviously had an impact on the market. But on a positive note, really, the value traded increased to about 4.2 billion naira in today's trading, which is somewhat above the 5-day average of about 3.5 billion. And it sort of shows that there's still significant buying activity, even in the period where there's still an anxiety and fear about the uncertainty as regards to the outcome of the CBN bank audit. So I think it's still in a positive development in terms of the buying activity and the interest in stocks, despite the declines we had in the exchange today.
Some of the stocks that you've just mentioned, for example, First Bank, why did those stocks show declines?
Basically, as I said earlier, it's a case of banking stocks as a whole. Very few banking stocks bucked the trend today. A lot of them were still under pressure, and it's not tied to First Bank or any other bank as I speak. It's just a case of the anxiety and the fear over what the CBN action is going to be over the banks, and I think that's just falling a bit of selling pressure on the banks as a whole. And obviously, another place where I think pressure is coming from again is because banks have been the one that have recapitalized over the last 2 years. And then because of the significant recapitalization, I think the floats from these banks are huge, and a lot of them has been fueled by debts. So the margin loan issues we're talking about, I think, are largely skewed towards the banks. And obviously, as customers try to recover this collateral, try to sell it down to pay back their loan, this obviously will have an impact on the banking stocks on the index. So those two had an impact on the markets.
Are you expecting this trend to continue for the rest of the week?
Yeah, largely I expect this trend to continue for the rest of it, barring any unforeseen positive news that will come to the market. Basically, the outcome of the CBN audit is due anytime from now, probably late end of this week or maybe early next week. And until that comes out, really, I think investors are still going to be a lot more anxious. The uncertainty is still there, and it will be difficult to price anything or value anything right now. And I think a lot of investors will just try to sell down, thinking there might be bad news coming out of that. So until we have that, until we have clarity in terms of the banking sector, I think we'll still see the pressure continue, basically from the fact that the banking sector accounts for over half of the market capitalization, as I said earlier.
Moving over to results, airline services, logistics, 6 months results is out. What do you make of them?
Basically, airline service and logistics had a slight growth in its sales in the 6 months, figure about 4% growth, which is not very significant. It's below GDP growth anyway. And the reason for this is not far-fetched. They lost a key customer in the short-haul business, a domestic route. And obviously, another key international and domestic client also reduced its volume significantly with them. So I think it's a case of passenger traffic and obviously losing a key client that led to that. And then not just going down the income really statement, realize that there have been a lot of cost-cutting measures. So really the EBITDA margin improved slightly, about 3 percentage points improvement in the EBITDA margin to about 21%. And obviously operating profit margin also improved. But a key reason why it had a profit decline was basically because it had an exceptional item basically relating to a dispute it has with one of his major key customers about his receivables is acquired over a few years, and the customers have refused to pay. So the company is trying to make that provision over a 2-year period, and that's having an impact on his profitability. Also, he embarked on a staff rationalization exercise this year, and obviously the severance package attributed to that also added to the exceptional item. So likely that resulted in a decline in its profit. But just going forward, looking at the outlook for ASL, I think the fundamentals are strong. As I said, EBITDA margins are increasing. The company is backing on significant cost-cutting exercise. And also, it's just newly ventured into, or let me say, planning to venture into oil and gas catering services, and that's going to be a significant value driver going forward.
Right.
I think that's what investors will watch out for ASL in the next 2 years as the company plans to.
Babatunde, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much for your time.